Yo, YouTube, we're back. UFC Fight Night. Colby Covington versus Joaquin Buckley. Last UFC card of 2024. Quick recap of last week. UFC 310. Did pretty good on that card. Disappointed Ian Gary lost. He could have fought a little more in that fight, I think. Such great odds on that fight. I feel like we should have capitalized on that pick. But overall, went 11 out of 14 on that card. 78% win rate. Steamrolling UFC towards the second half of this year. It's been great, but hopefully the success continues one more time here before the year ends. And let's start this off with Joaquin Buckley versus Colby Covington. And in this one, I'm going with high confidence here. Joaquin Buckley to get the job done. He's faced heavy wrestlers before in the past, especially with Albert Duraev. He's not near the level of Colby Covington, but he does have really good wrestling. And Joaquin Buckley shedded off those takedowns very well. He's also really big for the 170-pound division. He has quite a few fights at 185 pounds. For Colby Covington, on the other hand, win-loss kind of guy. He's fought way better competition through his career. But he does lose to these big, stocky 170ers, especially Kamaru Usman. Joaquin Buckley has a similar build to that. And he's 0-3 against Kamaru Usman. He can't beat anybody. His last win was Jorge Masvidal, who's not in a promotion anymore. Another recent win over RDA and Robbie Lawler, who are very small 170ers. RDA's even fought at 155. I like Joaquin Buckley a lot in this fight. Really explosive. Also really good with the takedown defense. I doubt he'll try to go for his own takedowns. He'll probably strike this one out. But I like Joaquin Buckley here to win a 5-round decision. I don't think he'll knock out Covington. He's really tough. But let's go Joaquin Buckley. In this next one, we got Cub Swanson versus Billy Quarantillo. Quick summary here. Billy Quarantillo is a win-loss kind of guy as well. He's not consistent. Just got finished by Zala, first-round sub. Also got beat by Edson Barbosa, his last win over Damon Jackson and Alex Hernandez. Not really super impressive wins, but I think he gets motivated for this one. It's a hometown fight for him. He is a Florida guy. They're fighting in Tampa or Orlando, one of those places. And he's fighting a 41-year-old opponent in Cub Swanson, who's another guy I'm not super impressed with. Just lost to Andre Fili. Before that, his last win was over Hakeem Dawodu, who's on a bad run in the promotion. I'm not sure if he's even with the promotion right now, but I like Billy Quarantillo to rebound here against a 41-year-old fighter in Cub Swanson. A lot of times that at-home stuff doesn't matter. A lot of guys choke at home. There's a lot of pressure on them. Usually they have a lot of friends and family there. But I really like Billy Q here to bounce back against an old fighter. In this next fight, we have MANEL KAPE versus Bruno Silva. MANEL KAPE is about a 4-1 favorite, I believe for good cause. He's been super impressive in the UFC up until his last performance against Muhammad Mokaev. But Muhammad Mokaev is a very good prospect, very tricky. MANEL KAPE is super athletic and dynamic. He's very patient, though. He really doesn't fight unless you bring the fight to him. I think this is a great style matchup for that to happen. Bruno Silva is going to have to come forward to win this fight, or he's going to try grappling. And I'm not too sure how KAPE's takedown defense is. Mokaev didn't go for any takedowns on him. But I think if someone brings the fight to MANEL KAPE, he will win this fight. Bruno Silva, recent win over Cody Durden, but Cody Durden was winning most of that fight and kind of got caught. And we've seen what just happened to Cody Durden. He's a gas-out kind of fighter. But I really like MANEL KAPE here to get the win. Probably by finish. He's really flashy. He does finish people when he wins. Let's go MANEL KAPE here. In this next one, we're going VITOR PETRINO versus DUSTIN JACOBY. This is a very unpopular pick I'm about to make, but I really like DUSTIN JACOBY here, plus 240 against VITOR PETRINO. VITOR PETRINO, very good prospect at 205. Brazilian, super popular. He lost his last fight to Anthony Smith. And that says a lot. Anthony Smith's horrible anymore. He's not in it. He had his best days. All respect to Anthony Smith. But VITOR PETRINO went in for one of the worst takedowns you'll ever see and got guillotined by Anthony Smith. And for DUSTIN JACOBY, not too much to write home about right now. He does fight a lot. He's very active. Recent loss to Dominic Reyes. He got knocked out. That was a little surprising. No one's seen that one coming. He is 1-4 in his last 5. It's not good. But the level of competition is so much different. He lost to Dom Reyes. Has a win over Kennedy Nzechukwu. Has a really bad loss to Khalil Roundtree. That should have been a win. That was a split decision fight. I really like DUSTIN JACOBY's volume. I think he will have good takedown defense in this fight against such a unexperienced fighter in Petrino. DUSTIN JACOBY, glory kickboxing, experience. Doesn't help with the takedown defense, but I'm sure he summed that up over his UFC career. And I really like the odds on this. I'm going DUSTIN JACOBY here to be the veteran, bounce back. I mean, this guy was on a good run before he took his last 1-4 out of the 5 losses. 1-4 out of his last 5 fights. He was on like a 7-8 fight win streak coming into that, and then he got robbed against Roundtree, and it kind of went downhill since then. Even the Dom Reyes knockout was a little suspect. It was early, but all respect, I like DUSTIN JACOBY to beat the young guy in Petrino. In this next fight, we have Adrian Yanez versus Daniel Marcos. In this one, I really like Daniel Marcos a lot, actually. He's coming off a couple really good wins over John Castaneda. They called it a no contest against Ricky Lang, but he was winning that fight so dominantly. Ricky Lang was looking for his way out in that one and took the way out. It was an eye poke or a groin shot that stopped the fight. He was getting dominated in that. But for Adrian Yanez, he was a rising prospect. Ran into Rob Font, got knocked out. After that, ran into Jonathan Martinez, another loss by knockout, I believe. And then the UFC handed him a fight against Vinicius Salvador. That was like a layup for him to bounce back. Vinicius Salvador has never won a UFC fight. They won Adrian Yanez around. He's exciting. He does have a good fan base. Although I don't like Adrian Yanez in this matchup against Daniel Marcos. These are going to be two strikers going toe-to-toe with each other. Adrian Yanez may hold the power, but the technique is definitely on the Marcos side in this one. Super clean kickboxer. Not too much to say about this one. Pretty good odds, actually, for Daniel Marcos. I'm surprised he's sitting about -170 right now. I think that's a total steal. And he's one of the better picks of the night. I truly believe that. In this next one, we have Navajo Stirling versus TUKO TOKKOS. And this is another very easy pick. TUKO TOKKOS was brought in on short notice against Mingyang Zhang and got flatlined. After that, he lost another one. He is literally Brendan Allen's training partner who just lets Brendan Allen beat him up all the time, so the UFC gave him a chance on short notice opportunities. This is going to be his last UFC fight when he gets taken out by Navajo Stirling. Navajo Stirling already has a Contender Series win, which is more than TUKO will ever have. I'm not too invested in Navajo Stirling personally on the betting side, but I just think I do think he wins this fight. He's about a 4 or 5 to 1 favorite. For good cause. Like I said, TOKKOS will never win a UFC fight. He's just Brendan Allen's punching bag. On to the next fight. Michael Johnson versus AZAITAR. In this one, I'm going to go Michael Johnson. Very low confidence here. About a minus 180 favorite. AZAITAR gasses out in every single fight. He's jacked to the gills. Too much muscle. One-round fighter. He does have a good chance against Michael Johnson in the first round because Michael Johnson does get finished a lot. But I'm going to take the guy who can go more than one round. Not going to break this one down too much. Michael Johnson's super long UFC vet. He's fought everybody. He's fought Khabib, Dustin Poirier. AZAITAR is old and muscular, but not really the best fighter. Big power guy. First round finisher bust for him. I'm going to go Michael Johnson in this one just because of that. In this next one, we have Yoel Alvarez versus JACOBY KLOSE. And the odds are super big here on Yoel Alvarez. I don't like that at all. Minus 350 favorite against someone who's so good. JACOBY KLOSE is on a great run right now. Only recent loss in about his last 8 or 9 fights came against a prime Beneil Dariush. That was a slugfest. He actually almost knocked out Beneil in the exchange. But for Yoel Alvarez, he is coming off a really good win over Elvis Brenner, Mark Jacasey. Only recent loss in the UFC was to Arman Sarukian, who is fighting for the title coming up. So it's not a bad loss for Yoel Alvarez to have, but he's super big for the 155-pound division. I believe he's 6'2" or 3. His limbs are obviously really long, nasty submissions, really nasty on the feet too, but he seems to sub up a lot of guys from a lot of different jiu-jitsu positions. I lean Yoel Alvarez here with average confidence. I'm a fan. I do think he has the tools to beat a lot of guys in 155. JACOBY KLOSE does have really good overall wrestling, though. I could see him definitely, if he can avoid submissions, he can win this fight with takedowns, but I'm going to bank on Yoel Alvarez here finishing this fight by submission. This next fight, we have Sean Woodson versus Fernando Padilla. In this one, I'm going Sean Woodson. Very underrated fighter. Super big for the division. Another guy, 6 foot or 6'1" or 2. He's in the 145-pound division. Fernando Padilla is also impressive. He has a couple UFC wins and also one hiccup in the UFC. For Sean Woodson, though, I believe this is a hometown fight for him as well, which doesn't really favor him. Maybe a little extra confidence. But Sean Woodson is extremely good in the striking department. No one can really seem to figure him out. He's super tricky. And also his takedown defense is top 10 in active fighters for the UFC right now. He has an 85% takedown defense. I like that a lot here because the only way people usually beat him is by taking him down. Fernando Padilla is not a takedown artist. He's more of a striker. I think the odds are super generous here. Minus 175 for Sean Woodson. Not the most active fighter, but he lands big. And if Padilla brings the fight, maybe he will bring it out a little bit more. Woodson also does have a lot to fight for. I'm not going to get into his personal life, but him and his mom owe some money to the courts, I'll say. And he definitely has a reason to get up for this fight. Let's go Sean Woodson. No fan bias. Truly believe he's the better fighter. In this next fight, we have Miles Johns versus Felipe Lima. In this fight, I'm taking Felipe Lima, even though I really like Miles Johns a lot. Miles Johns is a very good boxer of his own. Decisionator, though. He doesn't really have big power despite hurting people a lot. He has a lot of UFC decisions. He was supposed to fight Cody Garbrandt a month or so ago. The fight fell out. He's now taking on Felipe Lima at 145. I don't like that because he's a 135-pound fighter. Felipe Lima is very good. He has one UFC fight against Naimov. Tapped him out in the third round. That was a weird fight. Felipe Lima has a lot of dog in him. He's really good at striking. He seems really good overall. Maybe that was just a one out, but from what I seen that day, it looked like he had the skills to pay the bills. And Miles Johns, I think, is a little hungry for a paycheck here. He has to know this is a risky fight to take against Felipe Lima if he watches Felipe Lima's only performance in the UFC. There's no odds on this one, so it kind of doesn't sway the pick at all, but it does have something to do with the pick. If Felipe Lima was a 5-1 favorite, I'd be maybe a little more confident, but I would think he's going to be like a 2-1 favorite if I had to guess. In this next fight, we have Miranda Maverick versus Jamie Lynn Horth. Not breaking this one down super long. Miranda Maverick is a minus 450 favorite, and her only losses are to good UFC competition. Erin Blanchfield, a couple other girls, but Jamie Lynn Horth is 7-1 and about 35 years old in the UFC. Super old to think she's going to get into a run. Miranda Maverick, a lot younger, definitely stronger. I see her getting the takedowns in this one and easily winning the fight, probably by decision, but who knows with Maverick, man. She can get a knockout or submission. She really can win any 3 different ways. I like her in this one to get the job done. This next fight, we have Davy Grant versus Ramon Tavares. This is a fight, super close odds. Ramon is slight favorite, minus 120. Davy Grant, such a UFC vet. Very inconsistent, though. Win-loss kind of guy. For Ramon Tavares, I'm actually a little bit impressed. The win over Siri City and Cortavius Romeos. Super impressive, even though Cortavius Romeos did just lose. Siri City looked really good recently. And I like Ramon Tavares' skills here. I think he has to worry about the takedowns from Grant, but I do think he's the better striker. Not too much to say about this one, man. These are unranked UFC fighters, but I lean Ramon here with actually higher confidence. And the first fight of the night, the last one that I'll be breaking down this week, is Josephine Knudsen versus Piera Rodriguez. And this one, I'm going with Josephine Knudsen. 8-0 prospect, fighting out of Sweden, comes out of that All-Stars gym. Super good gym, a lot of good UFC pros there. She's 8-0, a few UFC wins already for Piera Rodriguez. On the other hand, not to doubt her skills, she does have good wins in the UFC as well, but she did just lose her last fight by DQ. She was winning that fight and decided to headbutt Carnelosi a few times when she was on the ground. It was very dumb. Piera Rodriguez is a good fighter. I'm going to trust the 8-0 prospect with Josephine Knudsen here. Not much to break down, but I'm trusting the 8-0 prospect here. I think the UFC is setting her up to win. And that's going to wrap it up for UFC Fight Night. Last one of 2024. But I'm excited to watch it. It's a later start, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. It's usually around 6, but is what it is. Going to enjoy the card. There's actually really good fights leaning up to the main card. I really like the Miles Johns Felipe Lima fight, the Sean Woodson fight, Joel Alvarez fight, even the Michael Johnson Ottman AZAITAR fight will be entertaining. And then you got the Adrian Yanez, Daniel Marcos, Dustin Jacoby, Manel Cup Swans. There is good fights on this card. They might not start off right away. There's a few stinkers to start the night. But overall, this is around a B-rated card. And hopefully we do it one last time here for 2024. Good luck, y'all. Drop a comment. Share with a friend. Anything's appreciated. And until next time.